Yeah, today we are going to talk still about our quadratic functions, and we are going to tie it into something we did earlier in the year, which was um, scatter plots and lines of best fit. We put scatter plots, or we made a table and created a scatter plot, and then we were able to get an equation for a line that represented that scatter plot. And so we can do that too when we want to use a curved line, or in this case, a quadratic line. So uh, I have the problems here, and of course, my Desmos calculator here, side by side. So you might want to split screen um, with the video and your calculator, so you can follow along. Um, Reminder that you get a table by pressing this plus and clicking table, and it'll give you a table like this where you can put your stuff into it. And so we're talking about the year it is and the number of marriage licenses issued. And so we're creating a scatter plot. And the year we're making our X, and the number of marriage licenses we're making our Y. And we can get an equation, a quadratic equation that represents this data by typing something into the calculator. So it's going to look like this. It was very similar to what we did last time. We put the ones, and actually if you just type y1, it's going to make it a subscript like I've written it, y1, and it's going to connect to this list of y's. And then we do our little squiggly line, because it's not going to be an equation that hits all of the points. It's just going to be close to all of them. So the squiggly line in this case means approximately. So we need to do x1, and then we can put a squared on it. And you want to make sure that you put the ones for all of the letters, the y's and the x's, not for the a, b, and c. And then it's going to give you an a, a b, and a c, and that's going to help you write your quadratic equation. So in this case, we are going to get, I'll do f of x because we're doing functions. A is negative 104. I'll say 0.75. I'll round that. X squared. And then B was this big number. And then C has this times 10 to the 8. That means we take this decimal place and move it 8 places to the right. I'm going to have to write this under here so I have some room. And that is a minus, not a plus, Mr. Pickard. So we're going to move that decimal place 8 places to the right. So what that means is we're going to end up with 4 zeros. And so I can type that function into the calculator like we've been typing these quadratic functions into the calculator. It's important this time to do the f of x, and you'll see why in a minute. It's going to be very helpful. We don't have to do the subscripts now. So I've typed the whole thing in, and now I have this function. And so the question here that we want to answer is, according to our model, we call this equation a model because we're trying to model these points. How many marriage licenses were issued in 2008? Well, our year is an X, so 2008 would be an X, and so we can plug that in, and it's really easy in the calculator. So we're going to do f of 2008. We just plug it in for X. In the calculator, if you make sure that your f of x was there, you can actually do f and then plug it in just like I wrote it. And it's going to give you the answer. You don't even have to do any calculating. You just say, hey, what is this function I just wrote when x is 2008? It's 104,536. That means according to our equation we wrote, we'll estimate that this many marriage licenses were given out in 2008 in Clark County, Nevada, which I believe is where Las Vegas is. So let me do a couple more. I have my data already in the table for age and time This is for running times based on your age in the Marine Corps Marathon. And so we can, again, type in the equation. And here we go. We get our A, B, and C. And I'm not going to write it down here. I'm actually just going to type it in. A is 0.0, I'm just going to say 49. I'll shorten it up a little bit, x squared. And now we don't need the little 1 subscripts anymore because we have A, B, and C. Minus, I'll make that 3.33. I'm rounding, that 7 rounds the 2 to a 3. So we've used our table, used this special equation, figured out what A, B, and C are. Now we can actually write the quadratic equation. You can see my data points here and how that curve looks like it's near all those points but isn't touching them all. And now I can answer the question. It says, what would the time be for a 45-year-old? So we're just estimating, but we can use this quadratic function to estimate. We just do f of 45 since they're x values, and we can get an answer. I'm just going to round that to 164. So 164 minutes. So again, we are putting the data into a table using this special quadratic equation, making sure to use the 1 subscripts next to x and y, use a squiggly instead of an equals. That'll give us A, B, and C. We could ignore these other uh, numbers or values. We can use that to type the function in, and then we can use our function to answer this question. So let me do one more before I ask you to do one. I have my data in again. I'm going to type in that special equation quick. So there we have it. We have our A, B, and C, and so I can type in an actual f of x. I'm going to do some rounding here, make that 0.007. And if you don't round, that's okay. Our answers will be slightly different, but that's all right. And I'll make that 0.19 and 0.73. If you need help with the rounding, just give me a shout and I can help you. And so this is appearances and championships won for national basketball, college basketball. And so we want to estimate the number of championships somebody with 21 tournament appearances would have. So our appearances are our x's, so we can do f of 21, and we get this negative number, and so that's really close to 0. So we're going to say it's approximately 0. So what I want you to do now, I have another marriage license one. At quick glance, it looks like the exact same problem that we started with, but it's not. The numbers are a little different, but the idea is the same. So I want you to try this one. Put your data into a chart on or a table on the calculator. Use this special equation to get A, B, and C. Type it in as a function, and then uh, see approximately how many marriage licenses were issued in 2007. 2007 will be an X value. So go ahead and give that a try. Pause the video, give that one a try. Ask me if you need some help, and then I will show my answer. So hopefully you put the data into a chart. Use our special quadratic equation to get A, B, and C. Type that into the calculator. Now I did some rounding, so if your answer is a little different because you didn't round, that's okay. And notice that this one that says times 10 to the 8, that means move this decimal place 8 places to the right. So we end up with 4 zeros on the end. And then I use my F of 2007, and I get 108,107.75. So 108,107 marriage licenses. So as always, if you have questions, please make sure that you ask. Raise your hand and ask. Always happy to help. There are two problems here I want you to reference. I'm going to make them bigger on the screen now. And make sure you stick around and answer the questions associated with these two things, the questions that pop up to get full credit. Um, Again, if you have questions, please ask. Practice is what makes you better at this, so of course you want to do the practice when you're done. Um, Good luck.